Now we got everybody's favorite target for accusations of culture vulturing, DJ Vlad, coming under fire for insinuating that he was going to get a Princeton University professor fired, or at least get her job put in jeopardy for what the professor thought was putting DJ Vlad in his place. Now, to give everybody some context on what's going on here with this story, everybody knows that the whole Kendrick Lamar and Drake beef is going on, right? DJ Vlad, who is a part of the hip DJ Vlad, for better or for worse, I would argue for worse, is a part of the tapestry of hip hop. And he does his interviews. His channel is wildly successful on YouTube. He does interviews. He has people on his show all the time. I don't even think he actually does anything with music specifically anymore. He's just a media personality type person at this point. Joe Button for Joe before Joe Button, if you will. And he commented on one of Kendrick Lamar's songs, saying that he felt like it wasn't mastered or mixed good enough and it wasn't a good enough finished product. This woman who you see here, the professor of Princeton University, chimed in on Twitter and told DJ Vlad that he basically needs to sit this one out because he's white. And therefore, because he's white, he should not be involved in this conversation because this is a black folk issue.
Oh.
DJ Vlad then in turn told her that is unbecoming of her as a professor, and he is going to contact the university because he felt like this was not the right way for her to go about doing this. So this is a mess. And essentially, what mostly has taken place as a result of this is people commenting on how this was not cool on the part of DJ Vlad to do this. So DJ Vlad is getting a lot of backlash because he seemingly threatened this woman's job because she chin checked him on staying out of this particular conversation because he's not black. So this says DJ Vlad receives backlash for threatening black professor's job over Drake versus Kendrick Lamar comments. Excuse me. Social media users think DJ Vlad went too far. DJ Vlad is trending today for all the wrong reasons. Yesterday, the personality took to Twitter/X to weigh in on Kendrick Lamar's new Drake diss, Not Like Us. He made a comment about the mix, suggesting it could use some improvement. Morgan Jenkins, an author, editor, professor at Princeton University, and niece of Rodney Darkchild Jenkins, then replied, urging him to stay out of the viral conversation. Quote, "You are right," she wrote. "This is a black folk affair." Vlad didn't take kindly to the remark and quickly fired back. Wait, so a professor at Princeton is telling me that a white person shouldn't be allowed to voice their opinion about hip hop? Is that how you interact with your students? He then asked. What I'm saying is that you put your opinion in a discussion that's not needed. This conversation is and should never this conversation is and should center black people, not you, she responded. And so let's continue to go down here. So unfortunately, things only escalated from there. Quote, "Don't try to change your words now," he then wrote. "I'll be reaching out to Princeton about this on Monday." They continued to go back and forth, with Vlad later threatening to get the remark put on her permanent record and seemingly threaten her job. Countless social media users are now weighing in on the exchange, with many arguing that he went too far. Content creator at Colorful Story, who goes by at CF Story on TikTok, shared her take on the debacle, which has since gone viral on X. "Pay attention and watch whiteness work," she wrote earlier today. DJ Vlad was told this is a black folk affair, and his immediate response was to try and get a black woman fired because this was a space for black people, about black people, and him being told this isn't for him means she needs to be fired. Comedian Kevin Fredericks, or Kev on Stage, also had a similar take. "Vlad is whack for a myriad of reasons," he explained, "but in this, you can tell he saw a black woman in a predominantly white university and tried to use his whiteness against her. Disgusting." What do you think of DJ Vlad receiving backlash for his exchange for a Princeton University professor? So all that good stuff. So again, Vlad said the mix could use some improvement. So I think the original tweet is here somewhere. Um, let's see. While I try to find, I could have sworn that Vlad's original comments about the song itself, which were just on the technical side of things, were on this article. But I'll let you go ahead and go get started with your reactions to this situation. What do you think? What do you make about this? Do you think Vlad is in the wrong for saying he's going to contact the university? What do you think about the professor saying he needs to stay out of the conversation because he's white? Like, there's so many angles to tackle this one from.
Yeah, there is. So, yeah, I think Vlad is absolutely in the wrong. I think he's wrong as soon as he rolls out of bed. I feel like every action he does is wrong, and his channel is wrong. And I feel like um, he does feel like police. He operates like that, and so this was a situation where he observed and reported, and say, you know what, I'm gonna get you in trouble. Last time I've seen something like that was like in like middle school, bruh. Where somebody was like, you know what, I'm just gonna tell on you. And that person really got up and told on the person, so this guy Vlad, he feels as though he's on the right side of everything, and what I say the right side, I mean the white side of everything. And so when he feels like that, he's going to use that card. He does that. And so he's done that before on other situations that were centered around race, or centered around certain ethnicities or religious groups. And he doubles, triple downs on threatening vernacular similar to this and other things. So I've seen him operate in on social media like this before, but never to the extent of, you know what, I'm just going to get you fired. I mean, that was extremely petty on his behalf. So I feel as though, yes, he's in the wrong. I'm not sure if he apologized yet. If he did, hopefully he has to take a media sensitivity class. Um, he probably also has to go to the feet of Most Def or Andre 3000 and ask for forgiveness. Go on a world tour and tell everybody how sorry he is of trying to get this professor fired. But if he simply does it in a tweet or some type of what do you call that, blurb or whatever, I don't think that's sufficient enough. And I feel offended by him doing this. I feel like he offended my whole community. So I feel as though he should apologize to all of us. So that's my stance on that one, sir. What are your thoughts on Vladimir trying to get this sister fired from her job at Princeton?
So what Vlad said was Kendrick's Not Like Us needed a better mix. It takes away from the song. So that was what his tweet was. He was saying the song needed a better mix. He felt as though the mix took away from the song.
Of course.
So I like Vlad as a whole. I've never understood why Vlad is as big as he is. That's definitely without trying to take away, because I don't know his whole history. And I know I'm gonna sound like I'm pandering here, but I think I've been pretty consistent on this channel with the appreciation of people putting in work.
Yeah.
So I don't know Vlad's history. So what I'm assuming is he's gotten to the point that he's gotten to because he's put some work in. Therefore, I don't want to take away from his career solely on the grounds that he put in work to get there, not through its merits necessarily, but solely based upon the idea that he put in some work to get there. So I don't want to take anything away from that. And the reason why I preface my comments by bringing that up is because I do want to say I've always not understood why his channel is as big as it is, why he is such an authority figure in the hip hop journalism space, when really all he does is just interview people. He doesn't really do anything critically. He just interviews people. And prior to that, he was involved in, he was a DJ and he did his thing on the musical side. But now he's more so a musical pundit. But he's not even really a pundit because he doesn't give his own opinion. He just interviews people. So why he's such a go-to outlet for so many people in the industry has always confused me. I don't understand it. Um, Having said that, though, um, I'm unfortunately going to have to come to his defense somewhat here.
Yeah, go for it.
And I don't like what the professor said. I'll just put it that way.
Yeah,
Um,
she was out of pocket.
yeah, I don't like what she said. Now, let me be very clear. I hate the fact that he went to I'm calling the university and all of
No,
this other,
that's one.
like,
Yeah,
get out of here. Like what are we doing here, bro? So you're gonna tell on somebody? You finna call the principal's office? Like, what are we doing here?
yeah.
Like, bro, you're successful in your own right, and you're gonna tell on this lady and get her job put in jeopardy? That's weak. That's beyond weak. So I didn't like that. That to me was disgusting. But I also didn't like what she said. I didn't like what she said because, I'm saying I didn't like what she said because to me, if Vlad had just sort of defended his perceived merits to be a part of that conversation, but eliminated the whole I'm going to call the university part, I kind
Mhm.
of probably would have been all the way on Vlad's side. But he lost me with the whole I'm going to reach out to Princeton on this. To me, that was super duper whack. But I don't like what she said. I'm gonna be honest. I don't like what she said. I don't like this white people cannot be involved in hip hop discussions narrative that black people continue to kick nowadays. I firmly disagree with it. I'm sorry. And I know a lot of black people don't like that. But hey, black people, don't get mad at me. Get mad at your own community for selling this thing as a product to communities outside of your own. I didn't create this dynamic. Y'all did. Years and years ago, it was basically decided that hip hop is going to be made into a major genre. It is going to be packaged and sold and bartered to communities outside of those of the people who make it. We read the numbers and the stats on this channel before. Check out some of our previous videos when we touch on topics like this. The majority of the consumers of this genre of music are people who are not black. The majority of the people who spend money on this genre of music are people who are not black. The majority of the people who attend music festivals, which are headlined by hip hop artists, are not black. Okay, before we transitioned to streaming, and people stopped buying physical media, the majority of the people who were buying hip hop albums in the stores were white people or non-black people, not white people. I mean, not black people. Majority. This music, this product, ceased to be black only 20 years ago, 15, 20 years ago. People like DJ Vlad have been a part of, like I said, the tapestry of this genre of music for so long. They do feel as though they have a rightful place to talk about this stuff. Vlad didn't get into any sort of minutia culturally with his take on the songs or the beef or whatever. He talked about it from a technical standpoint. He said he felt as though the song needed a better mix, otherwise it wasn't as strong. That to me is an innocuous comment that doesn't necessarily warrant you saying that he doesn't have the right to be involved in this conversation because he's not white. And even if you truly believe that, I firmly disagree with that on a fundamental level because we've been packaged this thing up and sold it to everybody. Everybody participates in this thing. So once again, I bring it back to my central point with this conversation, and I've maintained this for a long time now. If you want to be able to substantiate one's ability to be able to make the claim that this is a black owned thing and it should not be talked about, commentated on, consumed by anybody who is not black, then the proprietors of the music and those in the industry need to do a better job of making it very clear that this is a particular piece of art entertainment, whatever you want to call it, that is not meant to be actively participated in by people who are not black. Last time I checked, black people don't do that. The black community as a whole does not do that. Rather, we sell it to everybody because we want to be a part of the pursuit of the American dream, which is economic and financial freedom. How do you obtain that? By leveraging whatever creation that you make to sell it to as many people as possible. So I know I'm getting grandiose and I'm getting sort of galaxy brain, big picture with my take on this. But my general idea is over the years, I have become increasingly uncomfortable with people from the black community chastising non-black people on how they can and cannot participate within the ecosystem of hip hop when the music is sold to everybody, white people included. I just fundamentally disagree with that. And it's not because I disagree with the idea that that should be a truth. It's that I disagree with it being practically applied because that's not actually how this thing is distributed. It's given to everybody. So I just disagree with what the professor said. I don't like the fact that he went so far as to get, so childish and petty and small and just really being, there's a word I want to use, but I want this video to get served up, so I'm not going to use it. But he really stooped to a low level to take it there. But I also don't like what she said, if I'm being totally honest. I don't like what she said. I don't like it. And again, it's not because in spirit I think she's totally wrong. It's because you need to holler at your own people who decided that they wanted to sell this thing to everybody, because it's that environment that has allowed people like DJ Vlad to be persistent in their participation of the dialogue surrounding this music. It is what it is. And the only thing that I'll say about Vlad, and this is not to defend him, I'm not trying to defend him, but he gets that on a very regular basis. This whole you're a culture vulture, you're this white dude who's taking advantage of the art that black people create. You have no place here, you don't need to be here, you need to get out. He gets that a lot. And again, I'm not saying that it's entirely wrong necessarily, but I would imagine that it probably gets on his nerves that he has to deal with getting that all the time. And so, he probably lashed out as strongly as he did, talking about he's going to call the university because he just gets so tired of people telling him he can't be a part of this thing. He probably just it's so annoyed because he hears it so much. And he does, because I see a lot of it, like a lot of people do in the internet at least, come at him on some you can't talk about this because you're white stuff. And so I would imagine that over time he's probably become very aggravated and agitated, having to deal with that kind of rhetoric and dialogue on a regular basis. But be that as it may, I do not like the fact that he seemingly threatened this woman's job. That's ridiculous. That's out of bounds. It's crazy. His work has largely seemed to be somewhat siphoning of the resources of the art that black people put into the world. But I also would say that black people have played just as equal of a role in allowing their art to be siphoned in the first place. Due to market forces, economics, whatever you want to call it, that is the reality, is all I'm saying here. I'm not trying to place blame or say that this is somebody's fault, this is their fault. I'm not trying to do that. I'm just trying to say this is what has happened here. So if DJ Vlad can't talk about this stuff, then neither can the rest of these people. Like, you need to call out Eminem, you need to call out, the white rapper from Cypress Hill, and all of these other white people who are very much a part of this thing. You should also make sure that they can't talk about it either if Vlad can't talk about it. So I just don't like that whole conversation. Until you button up who can and cannot actively participate in this thing, I think comments like that are out of bounds. So, I guess both of them are wrong. I don't like Vlad more because I don't like people's jobs I don't like livelihoods being threatened. That bothers me. I hate that kind of stuff. But I also don't like what she said, if I'm being totally honest.
Yeah, I mean, I can see, all of that. I agree with what you're saying. I do. Well, I agree with it to a certain extent, to the point to where for the sister here, I do agree with the fact that she should have chose better words, especially if you are a Princeton professor or whatever, or just at that level of academia where this stuff could get used against you. I would like her to rephrase that better. That the beef has been getting a lot of people passionate, man, and she stepped out of pocket there. No justification. She should have chose better words. Because when you're a professor, you're constantly a professional. So, and she could not say that in her classroom, a board meeting. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah. So she gave him a window to say like that. That's inappropriate. And so I agree with that, and I also agree with the fact that he went too far. But the part where I think that I feel like Vlad is intentional. I don't think he's tired of it. I think he's an intentional person. And I'm gonna just go ahead and call him what he is, bro. And this guy, he is a culture vulture, and he moves like a colonial person. And he's stepping in our space. She should have chose better words. She should have said, "You're not hip hop, so you can't weigh in on this." So she didn't have to bring in race. She should have just said, "You're not hip hop, bro. You can't weigh in on this." Because hip hop people don't care about no mix and master and a rap beef. His initial comment of saying that the mix and master, whatever, was his way of pledging allegiance to his brethren, Drake. And he takes up for his brethren, no matter what. So he was standing up for Drake in a because it was a banger. Not Like Us is a banger. And he can't sit there and say that he agrees with this. So he had to give a critical take. Throwing something out there so people can consume a hip hop authority. And so whenever they're listening to it, they can say, "Nah, but it ain't mixed right." How you know? How you know?
Well, wasn't he a DJ? Like, didn't he
No.
do?
He can say that. I'm talking about the regular everyday person who read Vlad's thing
Oh,
and then listening to it and going, "Yeah, that ain't mixed
right.
right."
Yeah, no one would know that. Yeah, no one
Right.
would know that. Yeah,
So DJ
right.
Vlad, you know what I'm saying? DJ Vlad's an interesting character. He treats his interviews like pornography actors. And he uses them he just pays money. How his channel got big? Easy. You pay rappers who want money. I'll pay you $2,000 just to sit down here and talk. You're gonna sit here and run your mouth talking about all your ex-Fed cases. I'm gonna get all these views. And I'm gonna make, especially, back in the day, I don't know how much they make on a video, but $200,000, $300. I only paid this guy, 10 bands. And that's how he gets rich. That's how he got a channel big. He was just paying rappers and treating them like porno people, and just pump out tapes. I record you for a whole hour and then pump out different versions.
Yeah.
He treats it like that. And so these guys have to see how they're getting used by this man who moves like a colonial person. So that's how he got his claim. That's how he got his name and the thing. He is not a hip hop authority. She should have said, "You're not hip hop. You can't weigh in on this. You add to the garbage in our culture. You don't remove it." So his whole premise is to get people on that couch, get them to talking about all that crazy stuff. There's people that left his couch and turned up dead because of beef stuff, because he pressing and asking questions about street politics. You can't go do that. Street people should know better, but these young guys just want clout. And Vlad don't care. And his whole stance is, "Hey, you don't got to sit on, you ain't got to answer these questions." Getting piece of the cultures locked up, getting piece of the cultures, young people watching these things thinking that crime pays. This guy is a detriment to the genre. He does not have a stake. He does not have a say. He is not an authority. So my whole thing is, once he got to talking, college professor, I hope she articulated her words better, because she did put her job on the line by saying that. If Vlad didn't say it, somebody else would have. So she should have chose her words better and just said he ain't hip hop, because he ain't hip hop. He all up in the genre, but he's in it to exploit it. No different than Drake is. All up in the genre, but in it to exploit it. Telling our little kids to do whatever the hell, and buy these girls Chanel and twerk it up. And so, I don't advocate any of these people. So he was just coming to the defense for his Crody. So I don't vouch for this man. Never have, never will. This guy's an absolute clown, and that was just a clown demonstration that he displayed. I feel like, I'm saying, he feels emboldened. I don't feel like he lost his temperature. I feel like he think he's emboldened. Who's gonna stop me? Y'all gonna cancel me? Y'all haven't done it yet. We'll see about that, Vladimir. But I don't really co-sign this guy or his actions. I feel like he moves intentionally, and I feel like he's no different than those execs at these major record labels. That he's in it for the exploitation.
Yeah, that I agree with. I hope for her sake that was her mindset, everything that you just put out there, because otherwise she is going to incur the wrath of people who are going to accuse her of race baiting.
Yeah,
because she didn't elocute herself. She just went straight to, you can't talk about this because you're white.
Agreed.
And that's a lazy way to do things, especially nowadays.
Agreed.
You cannot, in 2024, with the way that the social construction of hip hop is situated, tell somebody who is white that they cannot be a part of hip hop. Because at that, what you're doing is you're opening up the door for all of these other white people in hip hop to be offended by those comments. And that's more trouble than it's worth to have to deal with stuff like that. So what it kind of seems like is happening, based on what I'm reading here, is him going the snitch route is so inflammatory that it's sweeping what she said under the rug.
I agree.
And everybody's distracted by his snitch route. But if he hadn't gone there, she would have had to answer for that. She would have had to answer for that, because you cannot, given the history of this music, make those kinds of comments when your own community has decided that they are more than happy to pimp this music out to the entire world. It's difficult for you to make that kind of comment when the music as an industry, as a business, and as an art form has made so many concessions to the opposite of those types of comments. It's hard for you to stand on that. So that was the issue, that I didn't like what she said. I didn't like that. I feel like it undermines people who have a thoughtful way that they go about attaching people like Vlad to this particular ecosystem. It undermines that, because it makes it convenient for them to clap back and say, why are you making it about race just because I'm white? And you don't want to give people like that kind of leeway.
Agreed.
You're doing yourself a disservice. And I think other people who participate in a conversation like this do themselves a disservice when they leap to the low-hanging fruit of, you can't do this because you're white. I mean, I think that that's a lazy take. So for her sake, I hope that what you're saying is correct and that was her mindset. I'll give her that benefit of the doubt, but I just didn't like what she said. I felt like that was unjust. And if it was anyone other than Vlad, she really would have had to have answered for that. And even with it being Vlad, if he hadn't have made it about him telling on her, she still would have had to answer for that. So
somebody would have said something. In today's culture, and you're at an institution like Princeton, yeah, I mean, I agree, man. Somebody would have said something like, this is not professional. She would have got reprimanded somehow. So yeah, she should have chose her words better, and I'm presuming she's a doctor or something, so she knows how to choose better words. But I just really think she got caught up in the beef thing. Was crazy, bro. All week people going crazy. So she lost it, felt emboldened herself. Right. So it's like, girl, you still gotta, even if you don't work at Princeton, I don't know what her current status is, but there's still going to be future employers. Like, you can't be talking like race like that. You just can't. You can't it definitely can't be you can't be like exclusive, excluding people due
Yeah,
to
but I don't even think if she was at an HBCU and she said that, I still think she would have caught flack. Like I just
the
think
school would have, yeah. They would have been
yeah,
like,
I just think
what y'all doing about her?
yeah, right. I just think you can't say stuff like that given the context. That's what I'm saying. It's not like we're not talking about like social
Raising your
justice
kids.
initiatives. Yeah,
Yeah.
we ain't talking about civil rights. We ain't talking about all of that other stuff. Colin Kaepernick taking knees and police brutality. You're talking about a major genre of music and entertainment. And look at any data on monetary, support and the pumping of money behind hip hop music. A lot of that money generated in you know, a lot of those money generated from the bank accounts of people that are not black. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? Let's just put it that way. And so it's just, from that standpoint, when you make that kind of comment, you have to answer. You just got to be careful. You got to answer for stuff like that,
Yeah.
um, because this music ain't for just black people anymore. And I'm not here saying that that's a good thing. I'm just saying that that's the way it is. This thing is a corporate piece of entertainment that is owned by everybody. And it's been like that for a long time. So when you make those kind of comments, people who do actively participate in it who aren't black are going to feel some type of way about that.
Yeah,
And
I agree.
and if this woman here, Miss, what's her name? If she's so disenchanted because so many, non-black people are taking part in the commentary of hip hop, then she needs to get with her black leaders and black coalition to figure out a constructive way to take back their art. Because barring something like that happening, you can't take white people's rights to be a part of that conversation away. And it
I'll
just
tell you.
is what it is, man. It's not like I'm saying that's right. It's just reality.
Well, I agree with that. And the last thing I'll say is, yeah, she should have chose the word hip hop because white people can be hip hop. So hip hop is the idea of hip hop is in itself culture. And so it is a way of thinking, a way of being while you're living in America. And it's about having a mindset of not being materialized and not being commodified, which it got perverted into by vultures. And then once they co-opted the culture, they turned it into a rap form. Then they started mumbling when they did it. So so what she was saying was, "You're not hip hop." She should have said that.
I hope that you're saying you're hoping that's what she was
I
saying.
know because part of the Drake and Kendrick beef is because he called Drake out and saying he don't want him say the N word no more. And then
Mm-hmm.
there was a conversation of why can't a biracial man say this? Like why y'all being like that? Woo, 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 woo. And then other people came out and said what Kendrick actually meant by that is that you only use your blackness when it's convenient for you, and you use it to commodify us. So I don't want to hear you say that because you're using it as a tool, and you're not saying it as a part of the culture. So when she was being emboldened and passionate about this, by basically saying that you're white, it's kind of in that same context of, bro, you're coming it from a mindset where you're looking at it from the outside. You cannot talk about this. If it was a hip hop take, if it was a hip hop person, anybody could have said this, but it was Vlad, and she knows who Vlad is, and she knows who he's associated with. So her whole thing was like, don't come in here talking. But she should have chose better words. And if she
Yeah.
chose better words, then it would have went over better. And then he would have just been looking like the hater that he is. But I
Yeah.
agree with you, man. I don't feel like she should have said that. But and that's how I feel like it could get misconstrued because it could be my angle, or she could have been really on the just nope. It was just because he was
Yeah.
white. I
You, and,
appreciate
but
you
you
saying all
and you
that.
don't and you yeah and you don't know which one it is. That's my
yeah,
thing. I don't know.
she
I don't know whether she was conscientious or whether she was just all out saying she hates white people being a part of hip hop.
yeah, that's what I'm
And,
saying. So
and
she got to clean that up.
yeah, yeah, and that's just that's a tricky line. That's a tricky line to toe. It is because you just can't give people wiggle room to even think that that's the angle that you're coming from.
Exactly. Agreed.
So
So hey, ladies,
Morgan Jenkins, Miss Morgan Jenkins, good
yeah,
luck. Vlad is a sucker. We know that for sure, but you kind of gave him a bit of a leg to stand on, in my opinion.
yeah,
Um, in this
unfortunately.
instant, it just, it sucks because he is a sucker. But nevertheless, you know, um, keep doing your thing. She up there at Princeton, keep doing your thing. I'm pretty sure she's enriching a lot of people. I'm pretty sure she is enriching the lives of a lot of those students who go there.
Yeah, for sure.
Um,
Hey,
but
hey, do your thing, Miss Jenkins. And I do have a business where I consult people on their online personas. So you might want to consult me. All right. I'm already working with Tyrese and Magic Johnson. So just go ahead and yeah, man, I'll help you out, sister. We're gonna get you some new work if you ain't at Princeton no more.
yeah, no Meek Mill though.
No,
No
Meek.
Meek
Meek,
Mill.
Meek is banned. Hey, like and subscribe, y'all. Meek, I don't need you, bro.